Hey, Grand Ascension, everyone. How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday. I think it is July the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, and it's about 6 a.m. I wanted to do a series of recordings today. It's been a while since I've been on, and I just simply want to continue the momentum of reading and just sharing some information and some books. Some of you may have read this text, and some of you may have not. But I hope that either way, I hope this is informative, educational, beneficial, and entertaining for you, right? The book that I'm going to be reading from today is The Murder of Reality by Pierre Sabak. I'll hold this up. And in future videos, what I think I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up shifting a little bit, giving less face time to you all and actually just zooming in on the book and reading it to you that way. Also in the future, I intend on doing some short video presentations on my laptop where I can pull up some interesting things and just share it with you all. It's great that you all see my face on camera, but I want to focus more on the information and the content because I think a lot of people are starting to realize that there are some things around us that we have not been taught. And I want to give you hook, line, sinker, and bring receipts and show you. Now, either you see it or you don't. If you don't see it, that's fine. Everybody has a different walk. Everybody has a different journey. And everybody has what's between their ears, right? And they taught you in elementary school. Use what's between your ears. Use your discernment. Go within and ask for guidance and clarity, and you shall receive it, right? Shout out to Anita and Jamil Shamshid Dean. I want to tell you both that I adore you, I admire you, and we are eternally bonded. I am really trying not to use the word love, but I love you guys, as is Kimiro, Chief Red Wolf, Original Long Wolf, Drop 432, Westside Cooley, Navi Poet, Millennials Best, Carrie. And my apologies if I've left anyone out. Micah Dank, Jay with Woodward TV, Alex Denatra, Cosmic Space Dad. You all have helped me in my journey and my growth. Okay, I don't like to use the word spiritual, but for the video, I will say spiritual growth. And I truly, truly know, it's not a belief. I know when you are ready to receive information, it will be given to you. It's up to you to do with it what you will. Okay. And one last thing, because I want to make these videos not about me. I want to focus on the content, but I do want to tell everyone that I am on this journey where I'm trying to be, I am attempting, and I am on this natural journey. So you don't see me with any makeup. You don't see me with any nails or nail polish. This is my hair. I just jumped out of the shower, and I just have a little bit of chibi oil and chibi product in my hair. And this is me. So you're seeing me in the flesh as I am right now. I'm getting ready to eat kiwis, some kind of mutated kiwi on my plate. And I have this. And of course, I'm trying to get off of this. I use a little bit of chili powder and the tagine sometimes. But this morning, I just grabbed the tagine. And I'm going to eat this for breakfast with my mushroom coffee. So I'm going to eat papaya, pineapple, and watermelon about in a couple of hours for my breakfast, and go outside and listen to the birds and sit on the patio. And I will be doing a series of videos over the next couple of hours. And so you'll see a couple of uploads from me. But enough about me. I just wanted to say hello to everyone, and greetings to everyone. I hope you guys have a magnificent day. So let's get into the reading. We're going to be on chapter 19, Atum or Adam. Okay. And this is from Mr. Pierre Sabak. He is on my YouTube channel. I don't know if I've shared I have shared his videos, but I'll have to link his channel to mine so you guys can go take a look at his content and his research. Okay. But this book is magnificent. And as you can tell, I have tabbed it up and marked it up, and I'm going through and reading it with you all, right? I thought that this was very, very good information, and I wanted to reshare it. So chapter 19, Adam or Atum. O Amen, who are in heaven. Turn your face upon the dead body of your son and make him sound and strong in the underworld. This is a composition of exceedingly great mystery. Let not the eye of any man whatsoever see it, for it is an abominable thing for every man to know it. Therefore hide it. Book of the mistress of the hidden temple, its name. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, and it's from E.A. Wallace Budge. And I do have the Egyptian Book of the Dead, but it's actually called the Egyptian Book of the Coming and of the Going. Okay. I think we nicknamed it the Book of the Dead, but that's really the name of the book. And it's an excellent read, but it's a book you're going to have to read more than once, as in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, Hermes Trismegistus. You have to read those books more than once. And each time that you read it, you begin to gather more information as it's revealed to you, right? All right. Doctrinally, Atum Ra is the creator god from Heliopolis, the Greek name of the sun city, and is one of the most important religious centers of the Egyptian civilization. And I will state Egyptian civilization. We want to point it to across the water to Egypt, but I'm going to tell you, Egypt was a period of time all around the world, especially here in the Americas. I'm in U.S. Corporation, Texas, the state of Texas, or Texas State. Let me put it that way. And there are multiple mounds throughout the Americas, especially here within the U.S. Corporation, all right, in all 100 states. It's not 50, it's 100. There are ancient artifacts have been discovered. The Smithsonian Institute has been hiding it for years. You need to do your research on that. But what I'm going to state is that there is just as many temples here in the Americas than there is anywhere else around the world. Egypt was a period of time. Juttah was the center point. Okay, and you have to really study the old maps and research those things, and you'll see how things were changed over a period of time. Okay, so the Egyptian civilization was not where you have it as of today, where they're pointing at the youngest pyramids on the planet, which is the pyramids of Giza. There are more pyramids than that. And there are certainly more pyramids here on our soil that's been destroyed, hidden, dug up, blew up, and buried so that we won't know the truth. And the powers that be have taken artifacts from here and shipped them to other locations. That's all I'm going to say. So when he says centers of Egyptian civilization, Atum's name is from the Arabic root tam, to finish or to complete. The idea of completion originates from the Akkadian root tum, T-U-M, which is consecration. Tum is grouped with immolation, evident in the Arabic verbal stem ta'am, to feed, from the Syrian noun ta'an, or food, and to whom, tum, mouth. Okay, sacrificial food, ta'am, is identified with payment rendered in the Syrian tongue, okay, as a ta'am or tm or pre, correlated with the votive, the Arabic Adam, tiam, to be over or to have finished, Hebrew tam, tam, and in parentheses it says innocent, suggests theologically a sacrificial prayer or originates from the worship of Atum. The concept of the appropriations situated with Atum is found also in the Greek tinim, or payment. Informs the Greek verb tinainem, to cut, equated with the verb tiano, to stretch, adjacent to the root tiaminos, a temple or sacred enclosure. The switch of the and the n consonant occurs frequently in Greek and Semitic words. Resurrection of Atum is an extension of the Akkadian deity Tammuz or Timmuz, consecrated by fire, demonstrated here as the original source of Atum's name. The Arabic expression tam, to finish, is rendered in the Egyptian hieroglyphs as tim, T-E-M, to finish, and infers the sunrise found in the eponym tin, T-E-N, to rise, and teniri is risen. So it says the conjunctive of Atum Ra, inversion of Tamui in the Arabic, is not mat, denoting death, ascribed to the seething disk. Atum alias is the goddess of judgment, or Maat or Maat. Okay, a derivative of Atum's name present within Egyptian lexicon is tahir, to gleam, sparkle, and it says adjectively tahin is rendered in the modern Hebrew as tihar, T-E-H-A-R, a clearless or luster. And it says, and it is akin to the Hebrew noun tahor or gold. In the Egyptian language, the adjective tahari refers to the tihim as the sparkling gods, the twat denom. Can't make this up. I have that book. It's actually a good book. It's actually an excellent read. The shining ones is what they call them. The twat denom. The root of which is probably from the earlier Sumerian word Atum, is a ghost or spirit, archaeologically a vampire. We talked about that, right? The radiant gods are equivalent to the shining ones, referred to in the Judaic commemorations of angels or angles of light. Okay. Otherwise known as the Watchers, the Greek word dragon or drakon, D-R-A-K-O-N. Followers of the Tehuti and Atum ritualistically practiced circumcision, okay, preserved in the modern Arabic compound tahar, espousal of the pharaoh's reign, in accordance to heaven is noted through circumcision. And if you're picking up noise in the background, it's my garden. My hydroponic system just kicked on, and the lights are coming on. And then also it's watering itself right now. So that's what you hear in the background if you hear it, the water. I apologize about that. So let's see. So it talks about the shining ones, equivalent to the vampires, equivalent to the what are some other names? The reptilian gods, the sparkling gods, the watchers, the angels. All right. So you've got different, they're also called the jinn. They have different names known all around the world as different. They're the same beings, but depending on where you are located throughout this great dome is depending on what you're going to call them, right? So it says, the radiant gods are equivalent to the shining ones, referred to as the Judaic communities as the angels, otherwise known as the watchers. Greek word dragon, D-R-A-K-O-N, drakon, okay? And it says, followers of the Tehuti and Atum ritualistically practice circumcision preserved in the modern Arabic compound tahar. Espousal of the pharaoh's reign in accordance to heaven is noted through circumcision. And it says, thematically, the angels are compared to the stars, identified with resurrection implied from the Egyptian verb tenim or ten, to risen. The appellation of tenim is matched with the earlier Akkadian root ten iri, a risen or shining lord. Okay. And it says in the hieroglyphs, 10 or to rise is summative of the day star and the worship of the sun deity Atum, which is Atum Ra or Venus. Atum Ra's motif is the winged disc adjoined to the serpent, a symbol of the pharaoh constructed with the votive of celebration of the rising of the star parables of the death of the firstborn and the concealment of the nocturnal angels, exclusively the royal line of the Akhenaten. Okay. And then this picture that I'm going to show is going to be a little graphic, but it says depiction of Egyptian ritual of the circumcision, the stone relief. And I'm just going to show it really quick. It's just chopping or circumcising. See? And that's carved. I mean, that's a depiction of what is actually inscribed in these pyramids. So I'm just going to tell you that. So it says in the original Egyptian, Atum's cognomen translates appropriately as totality or whole and is a pun for the Akkadian languages Atum, A, and then there's a dash, Tum, which is I consecrate or I sanctify. The analogy in English is whole of holy. Atum, or the name, carries the idea of totality in the sense of an ultimate or unalterable state of perfection, the first man, or adapa, okay, Atum, Adam. This state is the allegorious to the adjective absolute and is theological equivalent of the absolution. In Greek, the concept is conveyed as atomos, the indivisible one. He is the primordial source in the perpetuities to death and the resurrection. Okay. Atum's name is rendered in the Phoenician as the title Adori or Lord. According to Egyptian ritual, a child or adolescent purifies the offering in relation to the sun's cycle, entrusted to a Lord or a deity. Similar ideas are found within Greek mythology. A clear example of the close relationship between the Greek and the Egyptian mysteries is the youth of Adonis. Okay. According to the classical mythical, Adonis consummated a relationship with the goddess Aphrodite, who's also known as Venus, and was later killed by Ares, aka Mars, under the guise of a wild boar man. Ritualistically, Adonis' death is deified as a sacrifice and likened to a fertility god. The youth's blood is linked to the underworld and the changing of seasons. Okay, if you didn't know that. His demise, compared to the harvest offering, correlated with the red disc and the green reaper, not grim, the green, Green. Adonis's fate originates from the Egyptian sun disk, illustrated as Atum, Atum. The deity Atum is a variant of Aten, Aten, a disk, and transliterated into a Phoenician language as Adori or Lord. Okay, the Adon, Adon, sorry. Adon is contrasted with Atum, and the parallel, the Sanskrit etymology ad and adi is first. The title adorn or Lord is borrowed in the Greek or the Adonai, abridged in the Latin as Dominus. Okay, the correlation between Atum and Adon is recorded in hieroglyphs, okay? Hieroglyphs in these pyramids, all right? On rare occasions, according to the scholar David Roll, Atum is spelt using a hand which Egyptologists recognize as the letter D or T, giving it ADM. Okay, now do you start to see the similarities? Atum's name therefore serves as a probable pun on the Hebrew name Adam, Adam. The progression of man, conjugate in Greek with Adoni, a lord. Okay, Adam in the Semitic tongue signifies one that is red. Okay, derived ultimately from the Akkadian word Adamatu, the dark red earth. Okay, man comes from the clay of earth, right? Red clay. Hence, my color is brown, copper color, but I have tones of red and yellow. If I stand in the sun, you'll see it. All right, just giving you that. So it says the dark red earth. equivalent to Adonis or Adamatu, informs the Hebrew noun adorm, red, Adom, which is red, while something that is represented as red is Adum, Adum, indicative or indicated by the Adamim, the red men described in the book of Yeshua. Okay. 15:7. The name Adam or Atum work on a series of cleverly disguised puns. In ancient Akkadian, the pronoun and verb stems from Adin, Addin, I give, is correlated in the Semitic language with the name Adam, which is red, and reflects the Phoenicians' title Adon or Lord. Study of the morphosis demonstrates a close phonetic relationship between the phonetics T and D, evidenced from Atum, Atum, to Adon, Adon, and Adam, Adam, reflected in the biblical creation epics. The stories are all talking about us. They're all talking about men. And the series or stages of the resets and the different groups of beings that have been in this realm are still live in this realm. It's not a mistake. They want to tell you that these things are all gone. They're not. They still walk among us. And they live in the national parks and underground. And they come up from underground. And they have seats of power and there are positions of power in corporations. I don't care how you feel. It's about a knowing. It's not a belief. I know this for a fact. Okay. So, and I'm just sharing this information with you because I find these, the breakdowns of these words and the backstory of things, because oftentimes we don't get the concept of it. So he goes into great detail in his work, and I want to share this with you all. So then it says Eden's etymology. Okay, let me go back. So it says, I left off or reflected in the biblical creation epics. Adam, according to the tradition, is described as the first man, quite literally a lord, and is depicted as the custodian of the Garden of Eden, which is here in the Americas. We're the only ones that have the, is it the 4 rivers or is it, I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking 7, but I think it splits off into, splits off into 7 rivers. And even over there in so-called Africa, they don't have the same rivers. They want to point to the Nile River over there, but you got to understand that the Mississippi River, and I may pull it up on my laptop because I do owe you guys like 6 presentations at this point, where it shows you the different splits off into the different rivers. And I thought that I don't have it over here. It's not close enough where I can get it. But they have these, they have this thing that I'm going to do eventually, a river cruise. And you can go throughout all the rivers here in the Americas. And they all tie in. Well, you have 7 rivers that tie in or flow from the Mississippi. And that's my point. The Mississippi is the Nile, if you didn't know. Okay. So, it says Adam, according to a tradition, is described as the first man, quite literally a lord, and depicted in the custodian of the Garden of Eden, typically of religious literature from Sumer. Adam's name is a play on Eden, the Hebrew word for delight. Okay. And interesting enough, they always want to point to other locations where Noah's Ark could be laid to rest. And they said they've come up and they found it over here and over there. My thing is, we're the only location here in the world that has the gopherwood tree. And I don't know if it still even exists at this point. I know back in the 80s or 90s, Chief Red Wolf said that it was all along from like Florida all the way up through New York. It was all along the East Coast at one point, right? So and plus the coasts have been flipped. So really and truly, it was in North and South Kakalaki, which is actually California. But you look at the text and you study where those places say that they were, and it doesn't correlate. Somebody who has this in between their head, in between their 2 ears, if they really study and they really pay attention, you'll see it. So then it says Eden's etymology is conjugate with the direction of Qadam, Qadam, the east, associated with the rising sun. Atum and the morning sacrifice. Adin reflects the appropriation, okay, Dim fallacious, extracted from the root word Eden. Okay. And it says the analogy between Eden, delight, and Adin, as I give, is symmetrical in the Egyptian language with Hotep, an offering, employed to describe the adjective, the containment of happiness, the dijin, okay, to give, or D-D-I-N, sorry, to give, is sourced from the Arabic root din, or religion, derivative of the early Semitic noun. Din refers to the falling angels, the Dijin, D-J-I-N, which is in Islamic text, or the Muslims know. Okay. My brother, my sisters and brothers and Muslim sisters and brothers, they know about the jinn. And they know they walk among us. I mean, come on. We've always been taught that it's Satan that made me do it, this and that. If you really start looking at the words, you start looking at the meanings, you start looking at these cast of characters, Satan is not Lucifer. And Lucifer was not the bad person. And then when you say Jesus, do you understand what you're calling on, who is not the same as Emmanuel? Okay. If you want to state that, oh, Jesus Lord is going to save me, then you got to understand the root word of where Jesus came from. And it points back to the Coptic key, or the city of the Agad, is it the 8-pointed star? And you're really stating Hell Zeus when you're saying Jesus. So when you're saying, oh Lord Jesus, you want to say Yeshua or Joshua, or the better enunciation, if you want to focus your intent on something, you should say Emmanuel, or God with us, because you're really talking about yourself. Christ Yeshua, Jesus for all you laymen, is an example of what you should be obtaining, which is Christ consciousness. Okay. So Christ never said he was physically returning. You need to read those texts carefully. You have the key within you. All right. I'm not going to get off task when I talk about that. Christ is a title. Okay. If you want to say Joshua or Emmanuel is our brother, yes. Okay. Template of what you should be, because greater is in you than is in him. So basically what he's saying is you could do the same things as me and you could do greater. And he said that in text. It is written in text. It's encoded in the text, but you got to understand what you're reading. Okay. It all points back to me and you. It points back to us, but they did it in a slick way. So anyway, back to what I was saying. We were talking about the jinn. Slippery little freakers. I don't want to curse today, I don't want to. And cursing is not what you think. It's just, this language has been used against us, and most people are ignorant to the fact of what these words really mean and what what you're conjuring up when you're speaking. Just like when you use emojis on your phone, you really don't know what you're saying with the emojis. Your intention may be one thing, but that's not really what you're saying. I'm just trying to tell you, man, they use this realm against us. They did it slick though. I get a round of applause. Round of applause for these beings, because they really did a number on us. We're at our lowest point, and majority of people don't even realize it. They think they're driving the most expensive car, and have the most expensive house, and their credit score is 800, and they've got money saved up, they've got retirement, they're taking trips, they've got this villa over here and this piece of land over here and this house over here. That ain't even it, man. They've got you looking outwardly and focusing on these things, when the richest person, I hate the word person, the richest sentient being is the one that goes within and who has very little possessions, and who is not tied in this matrix, and is not in the institution or the corporation that they've designed to keep you distracted so they can harvest your energy and keep you coming back and keep you dumb, deaf, stupid, and using you for food and energy. Just saying. Anyway, so the Djinn is a derivative of the early Semitic noun din, refers to the fallen angels, which we all are fallen angels of light. Is a proximity to the votive din. The race of jinn are likened to a snake. Why do you think we got a reptilian brain, people? Extracted epigraphically from the Egyptian glyph DJ or JID to serpent or worm refers to Appendix 9 of the hieroglyph sign list, which is in the back of the book. All right. Their form is actualized from the fireblood or the fat of the offering elicited from the sacrifice of Adam, communicated etymologically. In Arabic, for example, the word hardun, Hardun, in parentheses means lizard, is from the compound har or heat combined with the Syrian root word dun or grease. The dun, dhum, is cognizant with the much older Akkadian root tum, to consecrate, and is matched in Arabic with dam or blood. Is where we get the vampires from, people. The phonetic switch of the T and the D and the M and the N, evident in Semitic words, suggests Hardun, in parentheses, lizard, is the etymology, another expression of the deity name Atum or Adim, Adam. And if you start to study numerology, you start to look at things for what they really are, you'll really get a deeper understanding and a deeper meaning of what that translates to. All right. Again, the metamorphosis of Atum in the Arabic language is likened to a worm or a caterpillar, a dud, D-U-D, explicit of the offering, representative as a basket or colloquial Arabic dud. The dulled with the pupa or the cocoon, and the carrier symbolizes the womb and the worm cognizant with the monarch's rebirth and facilitated through a tribute. Okay. The cononym of the Harduri, otherwise Atum, operates on a subtle play. In the Old Semitic har, translated as heat, designates the hurl, the altar, by combining the Syrian word dun, which is grease, with the former word har. The noun hadun, a lizard, is read cryptically as the fat of the altar, transcribed as a hardun. Conceptually, the lizard's double is drawn out from the burnt offering assigned to the blood of Adam, the Hadam. In the biblical tradition, the idea of blood offerings fits the worship with the worship of Yahweh, who is not the great I am or the creator of all. We plagiarize the word God so much. It does not mean what you think it means. Because we've been conditioned and indoctrinated to believe a certain thing. Like Chief has said, and many others, you give him 5 women and you can raise a nation, and you can groom these beings into thinking what you want them to think because you're teaching them at a young age, right? So when you say Yahweh, it's not God. Okay. If you want to say Hawa, which is the breath of life, which is you are the great I am, and you are connected to source. For this video, I would say God. Yahweh is not the creator of all. All right. I'm just going to say that. That's another video. That's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video for me to break it down. All right. But when you say these things, you really got to really understand what you're saying. And reading one text, King James Version Bible, and focusing on what that states, you will never understand the other text around the world, and you won't understand where those words come from and how that book was put together. Because the Bible is comprised of 10 books, if not more. Off the top of my head, I know 10. So you got to understand where those texts come from and who was writing those texts. And people want to say it was the inspired word of God and it was the Council of Nicaea that put this together. It was a bloodbath and people were murdered over that book. I'm just going to say it. Murdered over a religious consortium used to control people. All right. The Jesuits, the strong arm of the Vatican. All right. Which, when you look at it, these beings put together, and they did a brilliant plan. They incorporated 3 major Abrahamic religions, and you've got offshoots of that. But you got to understand who these beings are and what they did. All right. And people want to go back to the devil. It's the devil. It's the devil. It's much deeper than the devil, y'all. It's much deeper than that. I'm trying to tell you. So when you look at this, it says the monarch's rebirth facilitated through the tribute. The cognitive hardened, otherwise Atum, operates on a subtle play. And the Old Semitic har, translated as here, designates the hurl or the altar by combining the Syrian word dun or grease with the former word har, and the noun hardened lizard is read cryptically as the fat of the altar, transcribed as the har dun. Conceptually, the lizard's double is drawn out from the burnt offering assigned to the blood of Atum or Hadam. In the biblical tradition, the idea of blood offerings fits with the worship of Yahweh, who is also known as Enlil, who is not the God of all. Okay, it's someone masquerading as that being, but yes, he does have that source or light within him, but it's not the creator of all. Yahweh is not God, the creator of all. Okay, don't care how you feel. And if you would like to learn more, I can give you the books. I can tell you what museums and what professors to reach out to. Okay, translators of the doctrine. All right, just telling you, stop using words if you don't know what they mean. Truly, okay. This God also is supplicated with the blood of the firstborn and the fatty portions of the offerings. Intrinsic to the worship of Atum, A-T-U-M, and his hosts. Depictions of Atum's disc are shown combined with the reptile, a serpent, seen illusion or wing illustration, which is a winged disc on chapter 15, page 151. And I showed you that in previous videos. And I don't want this to make this too long, and I'm about ready to wrap it up, and I'm going to show you this depiction. Here it is right here. And I have a necklace, and I think I've wore it on camera before. Okay, because I like different pieces, and a lot of our culture and things like that has been hijacked. And so, you know, when you look at some of the things from around the world, you realize that they've really just taken things that we had here in this continent and in these Americas, and they've taken it and then they've put a twist on it, and they took our culture. And now they're using it as they're using our culture all around the world. I got to get a napkin. I love these kiwis, look. But they're using our culture all around the world and adopting it as their own when it's really the opposite. I'm just trying to tell you. I love interesting pieces. You guys see me wear this on camera. There's a young lady that has a store up in, I want to say she's either in Ohio or Pennsylvania. And she has a store, and she makes these pieces. And this piece was very expensive. It wasn't cheap. But I've had it for about 5 or 6 years. So, you know, she makes a lot of different eclectic pieces. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you this. When you do go to this young lady, they're one-of-a-kind pieces, so nobody else will have the same piece as you. All right? So that's what I'm saying. So back to what I was saying. When you know, right? So I just find it fascinating that a lot of people don't take the time to go and actually study what it means and the correlations between the root word and where it comes from. And then you compare you compare several different texts, the Akkadian text, the Semitic text, Babylonian. I mean, you compare them all and you look at the time frame. Like I said before, Egypt is a period of time, and it was all around the world, just like Atlantis was a period of time all around the world. They want to point you to the, and I did a video a while back, but I'll have to do another one. They want to point you to the dragon's eye, which is the eye of the Sahara. That's actually a dragon. But yeah, they did make a city out of it, a ringed city out of the eye of a dragon, and you can see the boat slips in it. You can see where people actually utilized what was already here. You got to remember, this world is a lot older than we can ever believe, and there have been multiple resets and multiple beings on this planet. All right. So what we're reading is a grand story about us, ourselves, and the evolution or the de-evolution of man. Let me put it that way. Okay. So, I mean, you just got to study, and just reading one book, you're not going to understand all the information that there is to know. So when you look at the correlation between these words and you look at how they did the sacrifice, the burnt offerings, and what these root words really meant, and you look at the metamorphosis of the changing of man, the creation of thereof, and these beings that had a hand in this, you'll understand what this is, right? It says, in the modern Arabic, Hardin describes hadim or digestion, and ad as to bite. ADD, philologically is simultaneous with had, HADD, sharp, and had, luck, conjugate in the Akkadian with adin, the augury. In the Old Testament, the masculine name Adin, or Adin, Adim, specifies sensual and describes one of the patriarchal heads of Israel. All right. Adin's conjument has the additional meaning subtle, an adjective used in Genesis to describe the serpent. The original root of Adin, Akkadian, is Adin, Addin, I give, suggests the offertory equated with the ecstasy or sexual intercourse relative to the worship of the jinn. Okay. If you think that we're the only beings that have ever been here and have intercourse with other things that walk among us, then you are delusional as heck. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Ritualistically, Aden is the interda in Hebrew as Adina, or voluptuous, ripe, or mature, alluding to the fruit of knowledge, situated in the Garden of Eden, or Eden's name, served as an intentional pun, or Adam, in conjunction to Eden, otherwise Eddim, the horse or the house of offering, in late Hebrew, delight, appellations associated with the Hadun or a lizard. Okay. All right. I'm trying to wrap it up here. I'm at 40 minutes. Atum's logo is shown extrapolated from the risen cobra, genetically hardened. The upwards movement of the hooked snake, or the reaper, is equated with the ascension explicit of death. Atum's resurrection is tendered as the flaming seraph, an expression of the jinn, or the angel. Similarity between the Akkadian, the Arabic, the Egyptian vocabulary suggests the defecation of the serpent, or the angel, parallels the Son of God, Atum, Atum, and then pictorially, the solar device, the Aten, Aten, is merged with the snake and reinforces the appropriations between the serpent and the fire, expressed in the European symbolism. In Greek, the salamandra, or the salamander, denotes the royal line equivalent to the fire-breathing dragon. Fire-breathing dragon. All right. Okay. And it says origins of the morning offertory attributed to Atum are sourced directly from the creation of Adam, paired with the mythical place Eden. The garden is symbol of the guardian. According to the apocryphal literature, the fallen angels are responsible for imparting knowledge of the season and agriculture to humanity. We were taught these things. We were never supposed to learn to read or write. If it wasn't for those watchers doing what they did and tinkering with us, we wouldn't be where we are now. Okay? I'm just going to say that. All right, and you can say, oh, we're supposed to be butt naked in the garden eating fruit and never supposed to work. Oh, God, it goes much deeper than that. It's so many layers to this stuff. I can't even begin to tell you. For the sake of this book, we're going to stay on point, though. So it says, okay, they're responsible. The angels are responsible for imparting knowledge of the season agriculture to humanity. Who do you think taught us how to do husbandry, animal husbandry, how to take care of the animals, how to till the soil, how to make medicines, herbs? People say, oh, you can't be a follower of Christ if you burn in sage. How stupid do you sound? But yet you're a follower of Christ because you can pop a pill every daggone day that they've engineered genetically to kill your ass when you think you're getting well. Make that make sense. There is a strong relationship between the materialism of an angel and the gathering of the crop. Yet you think you're a follower of Christ, you can have a big juicy steak that they've genetically modified or that they've shot up with mRNA, DNA for you to consume to shorten your lifespan. But you are a follower of Christ when you can slaughter animals and eat that bloody steak rare, while another sentient thing has been tortured and killed for your benefit. Come on now, make that make sense. There is a strong relationship between the materialism of the angel and the gathering of the crop. Development of the agriculture, or Za'ar, originates from the angelic progeny, the Zari, Z-A-R-I, are aliens. That's what that means. Not of this world. Dumb. Archaically, the CE, or the Iram, is a red goat or demon. Within Judaism, the harvest and land is aggregated with man's mortality and life cycle. The collective term for man is Adam and is paired in Hebrew with the noun Adama, or land, A-D-A-M-A, land. In Latin, the resemblance is human, or humus, or soil. Okay. Archaically, man's mortality coincides with the abolition and the rebirth in relation to the in relation to the body and the temple, conceptual to Adam and Eden. Eden then describes the garden of offering, implied from the verbal root adin, I give. Theologically, the place illustrates satiation through the votive demonstrated in the pro-Semitic languages. In Akkadian, Eden, E-D-D-I-N, is a hyphen or a dash between the E and the D, all right? It says, translates as the house of offering, theoretically a temple. The sanctuary mound or altar is symbolized corporally as Adam and is likened to the earth, or Adama, okay? It says the Hebrew word Eden's, spelt in the Akkadian language Adin, is a polymorph and is also read as the step or terrace, as found in a raised agricultural terrace. Eden is consistent with the Persian word paradise. All right. And there are multiple Edens all around the world. There are multiple paradises, but ground zero old world is here. And that's why they've worked so hard to tear it up, blow it up, misinform, poison, control, dumb down, inoculate, poison everyone. And you got here running around with some dumb racists who think they are superior when they're not. Because when you look at it, scientists have ever proven the oldest person that was discovered was here in the Americas. And it wasn't someone who's pale or fair skinned. It was someone who's dark. I'm just saying. You can't make this stuff up. But if you know, you know. So the Hebrew word Eden, spelled in the Akkadian language as Edens, is a polymorph and is read as the step or terrace. Okay, we know that, right? And then it says Eden is the consonant with the Persian word paradise. Paradise technically represents a walled enclosure from the Persian etonyms pair, or around, and daza, a wall, reductive of the Hebrew etonym paradis, or a grove. Okay. In addition, the Persian adjective peri puns with the Persian race of serpents, or the sapai, the peri, and fits with the early physical description of Adam and Eve explained in chapter 43, The Naked Snake, part 1. Okay? So if you know that when they say the first man who was created, you're thinking the first man looked like you and I. But when you're actually looking at this and you're studying it more, you know, the first man and woman were actually have more of a snake skin type thing. I'm just going to tell you. Reptilian skin. It's not like what we see today because we've been modified. We've been genetically tampered with. I'm just going to say, you know, if you know, you know. I'm not arguing with anybody. You just got to go read and study. Translation of paradise as a walled enclosure invokes a temple sanctuary. In the Judaic scripture, the analogy is annotated as the noun kamol, or wall, a veiled marker of the moon, or the Qamar, Qamar, aligned to the priesthood, The Comer, Komer, okay, the same meaning is extrapolated from the Arabic noun sar or wall. The pun with sin and mystery is a meaning extrapolated from the Arabic noun sir, wall, or pun with suri or mystery. Sir, Sirr, is a consonant with the earlier Sumerian root sin or serpent, equivalent to zu, or demon. Reductive from the Siriri, a red goat or a demon, okay, the red dragon, that thing that comes up from the deep when they worship and they call and they give it sacrifice. They still do that stuff today, you guys. Y'all just don't know it. Y'all think, oh, okay, I'm going to church. We're surface dwellers. Jesus Christ is going to save us. I'm a tithe. I'm going to go do this. I'm going this. Y'all have no idea the evilness and the wickedness that is around us. They screwed up though when they started sacrificing the children. They can't stop what's coming. Alex has talked about it. Chief has talked about it. I've seen it in my own visions. Okay. I've seen it. They can't stop what's coming. All right. They think they're privy to something. They think they're going to go underground. They're going to be safe while all this destruction happens. It's not going to be like they tell you. Even these things that slither up from the deep don't even know. They have an expiration date too. Okay. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you. So figuratively, the circle or fortified wall indicates paradise. They still worship the red dragon, you guys. I posted a video about that, but I knew that before that video came out. See, it's weird. When you know something and you think it and it comes out, the universe will show you what you need to see. It's just, are you paying attention? Are you listening and are you paying attention? See it for what it is. There's a lot of wickedness around us and they're calling it up. We're dealing with things we shouldn't be dealing with. And we're in this, I don't even want to say covenant because they got us in a chokehold at this point. Even if they want to break free from it, it's too late. They gotta continue on with the debauchery, with the child sacrificing, the worshiping of these beasts that come up. So we talked about what paradise means. It's a walled enclosure, the Garden of Eden. In Plato's Critias, he describes Atlantis as a circle, and we are left in the doubt he is describing a planet attributed to Atlas. Okay? He says, Poseidon made 2 rings of land and 3 of sea or space, as round as if he had laid them out with the compass and the lathe. Go look at the Sahara. Go look at the eye of the Sahara. Okay, that's where everybody's pointing to Atlantis. There's multiple locations all around the world. Atlantis was worldwide. It wasn't just one spot. People keep thinking it because he spoke of this one location. That's where he's thinking everything was. But you got to understand these beings were all over this dome. So it was more than one Atlantis. It was worldwide. These enclosures, these cities, these places were built all over. It wasn't just one. Okay. Plato's writing is intentionally covert. The compass in Greek and Byzantine culture signifies creation characteristic of the snake and is copied as the insignia of modern Freemasonry. The calipers circumscribe the disc pageant of the reptile, celebrated as the builder. Okay? If you know, you know. Originally, the 2 rings of Earth is Critias's account designate to 2 planets surrounded by sea, symbolic of the atmosphere. The planet is represented as a walled enclosure, and the destruction of paradise recounted mythologically. The place name Atlantis translates the daughter of Atlas. According to the scholar Alan F. Alford, it is derived from the root theo, to suffer or to bear, literally aethlo, the bear or suffer together. Atlantis is probably the same as the woman or moral Tyre. In the Greek mythology, Tyro consummated her relationship with the fish deity Poseidon encountered in the myth of Eve and the serpent, and Tyro's epithet is to suffer is matched in the Egyptian language with Traer, or to obliterate, decimate, or destroy entirely. The use of the Tyre philologically reappears in the Greek legend of Troy, and the word indicates a telo or Tyro. Compared to Atlantis and Troy are variations of the same word or myth. It wasn't a myth. It was a point in time. Again, they're talking about us. They're talking about the multiple beings that have been here and the multiple resets that have been here. Okay. A common version of Atlantis legend is retold in the story of Tantalinus. Tantalinus, known as the son of Jupiter, father of Pheops, I hope I'm saying that right, he is punished in the lower world with a constant hunger and thirst. Okay. And then Tantalus named is deduced from the Latin adjective tantalus, or small, used proverbially in English as an interlative tantalize or tantalus. Appellation further is a anagram of Atlantis and the suggestions of Jupiter's moon or satellites responsible for the demise of Atlantis. And this is the last page here. In Plato's account of Atlantis, Timirus in section 21b, the narrator of the story is Critias, and his appellation is Latinized spelling of the Greek word kritios, or censor, related to the krites, or judge. Critias, in his dialogue, recounts to Socrates, who was melanated. These people were melanated. I'm not even going to argue with you. I'm just saying, as a fact, the story of Atlantis during the Appalachia festival. He maintains that even though the story is very strange, every word of it is true. The truth here refers to the metaphor and the apparent from the onset with the celebrations of the Aptural. The Latin apertura means open and is used dexterously to imply the Greek root apato, or to deceive, and the apatolos, or deceiver. The eponym apato relates to Latin stem appetite, to crave or desire, tantalize, and transitive verb appetite, to attack, assault, assail. Critias' description of Atlantis is a circle suggests a merging of the creation and the flood narrative, parallel to the tradition of the paradise identified with the mortuary temple and offering. Theologically, the fertile terrace Eden and the stepped ziggurats, which is these pyramids you see all around the world, at the flat at the top where they come down, they land on them. Okay. You go within them, they have these places of worship and where they offer sacrifice. Okay. Connected religiously to the destruction of the paradise, paired with the votive, or the relationship between Adam and Adamu, the earth connotates the serpent. The covenant with the Adama is written alternatively as the Afar, or earth, or key, a play of a snake. The snake's resurrection from the soil denotes the offering of a man, symbolic in Europe of the vampire, identified in the Semitic tradition with the dragon, or a reaper. In Arabic, the earth is matched with a garden, opposite of the custodian Jinai, okay, or Jijin. Atonement through the sacrifice, which they still do today, okay, in secret circles. Unbeknownst to everybody else, you drop your kid off at soccer practice and you go have a sacrifice over here with this thing. I'm just saying. Make it make sense, but it's actually happening. Atonement through sacrifice originates from the offspring of Adam, allegorically the garden and the annihilation of Eden. Conceptually, Adam's demise dovetails the Egyptian Arabic noun Adam, or bone, AADM, in enclosure in parentheses it says bone, allegorically of Eve's rib merged with the serpent. The Adam, bone, in the Arabic pertains to the verbal stem Adam, to annihilate. Adams originally suggested blood rites apportioned to Hadum, a lizard or dragon, an angel, a reaper, a watcher, a jinn, is what it says here, reconciled with the land and the earth. Analogy of the bone equated with the fallen angel explains the corruption of Eden, associated with the decay and the death, recorded in Latin and Greek. The obscure Latin noun osis, or bone, is derived from the Greek root word ostenon, or ostenon, Osteon, cryptically, okay? Osis and ostenon recalls the angelic host from the Greek lexicon. Osis holy, a derivative of the hostia, a sacrificial victim. Phylogically, Osi is consistent with Osiris, or Lord of the hosts. He is depicted as seated on the throne of the genitive water. Osis, a holy, otherwise Osiris, is a religious doublespeak is applied to the oasis or fertile crescent. Conceptual to the location of paradise, understood as Eden. The oasis signifies a place of offering in crescent interchangeably with the ecliptic moon, correlated with water, conjugative of the earth's satellite. Demarcus demonstrates the symbolically the ribs affiliated with the serpent or Venus and the sanctuary enclosure classified with the priestess or rock or rib. Extraction of Adam's bone parallel the creation of Eve from Adam, adjacent to the temple. You get it? Archaeologically, architecturally, the temple or the foundation is represented as the rock, described in Jewish scripture as an even sheti yah, the foundation or the stone. Esoteric Hebrew equates the noun a sela, a stone or a rock, with the sela or rib, figuratively as the altar or the altar. Removal of Adam's rib, heart, or recounts the theologically the creation of Eve coupled with the serpent. Okay. To conclude, this chapter in the Egyptian mysteries, Adam is transposed to the worship of Atum, A-T-U-M, in situ to the earth and the temple. The fall of Adam communicates loss attributively religiously to the death of the firstborn couple with the desecration of Eden. Referred to as Atlantis or paradise in Greek and Persia, the memory of a lost planet and associated with a far older and secret tradition. It is with the notion that we must travel further back in time and add distance to discover why Adam is considered the true inheritor of the earth. And that is the end of this chapter 19, Atum. And it was long, okay? I'm on here an hour, so let me let you go. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. It's too long for Facebook to upload directly, so I have to upload it to YouTube and then tag it over on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram and X. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this reading. When I come back, chapter 20, men are from Mars and snakes are from Venus. And that's a long one. Going to try to be quick and get through that as well. I am going to come back and do some reading from William Cooper's Behold the Pale Horse, because there's something in here I want to point out. And then I'm going to get back to Flying Serpents and Dragons. And then I'm going to wrap it up, because you're going to get a series of videos from me, because I'm going to start firing these off. This one, Tesla and the Cabbage Patch. I know I got 1.2 thousand views or 1,200 views or something like that on that. And what I was reading from was The Murder of Reality and the Flying Serpents and Dragons. I am going to get back to this, and we're going to spend a lot of time covering that. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to read this to you in conjunction with this. But I want to do a series of videos where I pull up certain structures to point out the architecture. And you're going to see it all around the world. And you're going to see it right here in the Americas. When I was in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, I uploaded a couple of pics of some buildings and things like that. And Guy goes into a good illustration of how they changed and manipulated the buildings, okay, with the timeline, how they added 1,000 years. I've read it in Guy's book. I've read it in Arthur Kessler's, and I even want to say it was Gerald Clark, or it was someone else it was like 3 authors I've read already, or actually 4 that I've read, plus the tablets that state that the timeline has been changed. I mean, it has been. They've added 1,000 years, and It is what it is. If you know, you know. But anyway, I appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you so much. I always appreciate my subscribers, people who follow me. Like I said, I'm going to really try to get back to the basics of reading, not giving too much commentary, although sometimes it's just my personality comes out. I am going to start sharing my screen, and I am going to start reading the books on screen so you can see them. I'm going to zoom in with my very expensive cell phone. Supposed to be the best right now. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to read directly from the pages, and I'm just going to let you listen to my voice, and we're going to deep dive into some very interesting topics. I am here to share information for those who want to learn something different and look at things from a different perspective. If you're indoctrinated or if you believe in what you're seeing around you, then I'm not the person for you. You don't need to be listening to me talk, and you damn sure don't need to be listening to me read. Stay stuck on stupid. I'm here for the free thinkers and for people who really want to understand what this is and get back to the basics and understand that we have to ascend now. Like, we don't have a choice anymore. We have to ascend. Hence, that's why I'm eating more fruit and really literally going to give up the meat. May have one burger in the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to be eating more fish and more fruit and more vegetables. And eventually I won't even eat any meat anymore. I'm just going to get to the point where it's just fruit and vegetables and minerals and things like that, herbs and things that I know that my body needs based on the tests and things like that for my blood work, right? Anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you so much for joining me. Much love and respect to all of you. And remember what I always say, be the change you want to see all around this earth dome, because it's up to you and I to make that positive change. And I will talk to you guys soon. Check it out.